here today, and I want to acknowledge all the staff from Peninsula Health. They do an amazing job supporting the health and wellbeing, the safety, the life opportunities of so many people in this part of Melbourne, and we're very grateful to all of you, and please pass on our thanks to all of your staff. It's been a very challenging year. To be COVID safe but also provide healthcare has not been easy, and you know, to think, I don't know how many times I've visited Frankston as the Premier of our state or in other roles, but there's so much happening in Frankston. Paul Ebrook is here, Sonia Kilkenny as well, and the Deputy Premier joins me. The amount of investment, the amount of activity in Frankston is something that makes me very, very proud. But we know that we can and we must do more. And the report that was handed down yesterday and all the recommendations within it, as well as the 9 recommendations from the very first report, is a call to action to save lives, to build a much better system, to actually build a system that works, to build a system that's not a bunch of disparate services but a connected system that acts as a safety net but also promotes good health. It isn't just about dealing with crisis, it's about being close to home, being local and getting to people early rather than waiting for things to escalate into very, very challenging periods of time in people's lives at their core to mental health crisis for a reason. That's to be avoided. The work of community mental health in facilities just like this one is so important for literally hundreds of thousands of Victorians every single year, and their families and their carers. It's a workforce that's dedicated. It's a workforce that no one's ever questioned the quality and the hard work that they do. We have to give them a system, including buildings and budgets, that match their commitment and their passion, and that's exactly what we will do. I'm going to ask the Deputy Premier to speak about a number of investments that we're making, 6 sites that are called out as priority areas for investment, and we are not wasting any time on this. We've already funded and are in the process of delivering on each of the 9 recommendations that were made from the very first report, and we will tick off each and every one of the recommendations, the 65 of them that came to us yesterday, in a methodical way. This investment is critical. Its time has come. This momentum is undeniable, and we need to make sure that we are doing everything we possibly can to give to our dedicated staff the facilities, the budgets, the support that they need to in turn change lives and save lives. That's what mental health reform is all about. It's all about people. This is a very personal thing and something that we all need to be absolutely signed up to. To speak more about those 6 sites and the investments we're going to make, I'll now ask the Deputy Premier and Minister for Mental Health to do that, and then of course we're happy to take any questions you have on these or any other issues.
Terrific. Thanks, Dan. So the Mental Health Royal Commission final report was handed down yesterday. This is day 1 of delivering on that final report and rebuilding our mental health system in Victoria. One of the key recommendations, to go to the vision that Dan talked about, care early in your local community before it's too late in a hospital, is recommendation 3, and that's about providing up to 60 local services right across our state. Today, we're announcing 6 priority areas identified by the department. This is where we've got the most need. 6 priority areas where we will deliver these local services, the first of which will be delivered from mid next year. All of the 6 will be delivered by the end of next year, and up to 60 in terms of the complete recommendation by 2026. These 6 priority areas, local areas, identify themselves. The reasons speak for themselves. Here in Frankston, one of the highest per capita suicide attempts presentations to EDs, as well as one of the highest per capita suicide rates in the state. Benalla has been identified, the highest per capita suicide rate over the last decade in Victoria. Places like Whittlesea, where it has the highest, one of the highest per capita community mental health presentations, as well as more than 10 years on from Black Saturday, we know that the impact on communities' mental health continues. So these 6 priority locations have been identified. We are not wasting a day. These sites will support people from their first to their last contact with mental health services. This is the first door that they enter. Each of these local services, they'll be different because each local area is different in terms of their needs, but what they'll provide is firstly expanded treatments, therapies, wellbeing supports themselves. They'll also provide support to access other supports and treatments in an area. And thirdly, they'll help with primary and secondary care provision. So, for example, they'll facilitate with a GP a referral to secondary provision for mental health services. So the first door that someone enters into, their first and last contact with mental health services in their local community. It is all about local access, early support to make sure that we don't have people presenting to EDs when it's too late. There's a lot of work that needs to happen, and that will happen immediately. So the department will engage with local services. They'll engage with Peninsula Health here in Frankston. They'll engage with the local community. They'll determine whether it's a greenfield site that needs to be created or whether it's an existing service that can be expanded. But we'll do that work immediately, and as I said, we'll have the first sites established from mid of next year. Recommendation 4 is about establishing 8 interim regional boards. We need to do that by the middle of this year, which we will, so the department will also engage with the chairs of those interim regional boards in terms of determining exactly what service will be provided and exactly where. But what the Premier and myself, Paul and Sonia, are announcing today is that we've identified the 6 sites most in need of immediate additional provision, and this will be the first 6 sites where we'll provide the up to 60 adult centres across our state.